Alrighty, good morning, everyone. We are going to get started. Welcome to today's webinar, Ohio State Contract Solutions that Improve Pedestrian Safety. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Marissa Ray. I'm TAPCO's Marketing Event Specialist, and I'll be moderating today's discussion. So just a little bit of housekeeping here before we get started. All participants will be muted during the webinar to eliminate any background noise and feedback issues. You will see in the right-hand sidebar that there is chat functionality. We encourage you to leave questions and comments there throughout the webinar. There will be a Q&A session to close out the webinar at the end, where I will pose these questions to today's presenters. And then we will also be distributing a copy of this presentation to all attendees after the presentation concludes. For those of you who are not aware, TAPCO is based out of the greater Milwaukee, Wisconsin area. We are a third-generation family-owned company driven to increase road safety for all users. To do this, we focus on our 4 core strengths: innovation, quality, service, and expertise. Today, we are focused on our expertise as a pedestrian crosswalk provider with over 65 years of keeping roadways safer. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce our presenters. Our first expert today is Kevin Meyer. Kevin is TAPCO's account manager for Ohio and Indiana. Kevin has worked at TAPCO for 3 years. He specializes in pedestrian solutions and has over 20 years in the safety products industry. Kevin is also a part of TAPCO's safety committee. Some of Kevin's interests include outdoor recreation, including anything from fishing to hunting and skiing. Kevin is also an Eagle Scout and Scout leader. Kevin is a huge Green Bay Packers fan and a team stockholder. Our second expert today will be Nick Poblocki. Nick is TAPCO's Intelligent Warning System rep for the system lines of overheight detection, dynamic curve warning, high water, and LegendViz signs. Nick has worked at TAPCO for nearly 10 years. Prior to his current role, Nick was a senior account executive handling accounts on the eastern half of the United States. Outside of TAPCO, Nick is currently finishing his MBA and helps out on his son's high school wrestling team, where they currently rank 2nd in the state of North Carolina. And our final expert of the day is Alex Perry. Alex has been with TAPCO for 4 years and started as a regional account manager. Currently, Alex leads our technical sales team as our IWS Solutions sales supervisor and is here to assist in the project management, design, and execution of TAPCO's advanced traffic safety solutions. Alex enjoys sharing his knowledge of TAPCO solutions with the industry. Alex is a father of 4 and enjoys traveling. And without any further delay, I will go ahead and hand it over to you, Kevin.
All right, thank you, Marissa. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today. I just want to talk first about our pedestrian crosswalk systems. And just to let you know, the Ohio State contract is a great contract. Any municipality, county, or ODOT affiliate can use it. It does have great pricing and free freight included with it. So first, we're going to talk about our activations. We do have our user actuated activations, your push buttons, your toggle switches, key switches, time clocks. But some of the other things that we do have on the contract are our passive detections. Those include our bollards, our radar, infrared sensors, and our thermal, which we'll talk about in a little bit later. We also can do some definitely smart activations. We can have sensors that deal with temperature, animals, radar, fiber optic, and come to TAPCO for your custom solutions. We can integrate with most traffic management systems. One of our newest push buttons is our INX push button. The great thing about this is it's Bluetooth capable. It does have the pet app for visually impaired, so they can activate them on their phone. It's also a push button that has great communication. So areas where there's an older generation or visually impaired individuals, this does work great. But anybody in the area can use it. Also, we do have our newest one with COVID coming on. It's becoming pretty popular, is our IDX. It's a touchless option. All you have to do is wave your hand in front of the button and it will activate. Next, we have our proprietary radios that TAPCO's come out with. So for wireless communication, the great thing is we can always do this for you where you want a trench or whatever, but the great thing about our systems is we do have our wireless communication. The 900 megahertz hopping frequency allows for instant communication, especially in RRFBs where there are tight tolerances to be held. As you can see, we've made our wireless radios easy to use with some easy to read displays, a joystick. The other great thing is we can also extend the distance. We do have a range of up to 900 feet. By doing multiple options and repeaters, we can increase that distance if needed. Next, we'll get into our LED enhanced warning alerts. The first one is our blinker sign. The great thing about our blinker sign is that it's a highly visible traffic sign with LEDs that are embedded around the perimeter. They're MUTC compliant. They also come in multiple sizes, colors, and legends. We have 3 LED colors available from amber, white, and red. Our team, myself and our team, will help you with the right design and fit if you'd want something custom. And we also provide artwork.
I mean, you definitely
proofs.
touched on the points there.
Some of the other great things about our systems is they usually come solar powered, and we can solar size them based on autonomy and different applications. But we do have a 24/7. We have quite a few different options, but we can solar size them. They're MUTC compliant. Some of the other features are we ultrasound weld the LEDs for an environmental sealed fit. We use aluminum channels to protect against inclement weather and tampering. We have multiple other great options, including we use an 080 aluminum, and then we also do use 3M's diamond grade reflective sheeting with 3M's anti-graffiti and overlay film. So it's easy to remove any graffiti that may show up. Alex, is there anything else that you want to add?
That I think are key about our blinker sign. TAPCO was first to market with these devices once upon a time. We've effectively started our IWS solutions portfolio by adding LED enhancements to static signs, making them more conspicuous and increasing the driver's reaction to these devices when they're activated on the roadway. The idea being a conspicuous activated sign, as we all know, is something that is novel. It's something people are going to pay attention to and invoke a more appropriate response from the driver. We want people to stop when they're supposed to stop. We want them to be aware of a crossing when it's activated, things like that. The devices have gone through evolution here. What you're seeing is our latest and greatest version of this sign. Touching on it a little bit more, we'll look at touching on enhancements, excuse me, a little bit more. We'll look at new iterations of this sign in just a minute, foreshadowing a bit, but we have our LegendViz sign coming up as well.
Thank you, Alex. We also have our ruggedized blinker signs. So for those environments that need a little bit more durability, we've gone through and designed, and TAPCO is the only one out there that has this ruggedized sign. The great thing is that we have the high density polyethylene substrate. We've also gone with a thicker aluminum with the ruggedized signs. This is for areas where you may have high winds, especially in the north. I know Wisconsin and Ohio and Indiana, we all have lots of snow. So when you have that snow plow coming through and hitting them, the 080 is a great aluminum, but it tends to want to bend against that. So we have the ruggedized, which definitely holds up a lot better. The Z-bar design brackets on the back. Also, sometimes when you have high speeds, especially like a dynamic curve warning system where you got people going on a curve or real high speed, we tend to want to use our ruggedized signs. Next, we have the blinker beacons. These are great. They're industrial grade. We can do 12-inch or 8-inch beacons. We can do multiple configurations, so we can definitely customize them. I've seen them where we have the, as shown there, we have the beacons on the top and the bottom. We've had 2 at the top. We've had beacons on the front and the back. either top and bottom, or a lot of times with the school zone, I've seen it where there's the 2 beacons, top and bottom, facing traffic, and then there's one on the backside on the top as an indicator for anybody coming the other way.
Kevin, if you don't
Yep.
mind, I just want to ask, are there any iterations or setups that are most common in Ohio that you're familiar with? Anything that we've been able to produce here that works well for your customer base?
Yeah, definitely. So the top and bottom is definitely one that's used for a lot of school zones. And as I just mentioned, having that beacon on the backside at the top is another popular function in Ohio.
Excellent.
Yeah, definitely. And then just kind of touch on it a little bit further. We will solar size appropriately. So if we give you multiple beacons, we're not going to just give you one solar size that fits all. We're going to really look at that system and make sure that we give you something that's robust and holds up. And we can apply many applications. So we have solar here shown, but we can definitely do AC. We can tie into street lamps. So if you want intermittent power where it charges the battery when the street lights are on, definitely many different options. Just come to us. We'll make sure our experts give you the best options. One of the other things too, just to touch on quick, is we do have the 12-inch LED that's shown there. We can do that in amber or red. We can do the LED housing can come in a yellow or a black. And then we also do paint the assembly to match the housing color. We also have the cut visors. And those kind of standard black, but we can definitely make those yellow if we need to. Next, we have the rectangular rapid flashing beacon, or RRFB. These are FHWA compliant. We have the wig-wag plus simultaneous flash pattern, and the light bars automatically dim for ambient light usage. Also, real quickly, just want to touch on this. We do have a black powder aluminum housing, but the great thing I want to point out is the pedestrian indicator can be set in the field. So we have a little plastic cover. You just remove the plastic cover either on one side or both sides, and then that'll be, and a lot of times that is a requirement, and the pedestrians can see that the system is activated.
Yeah,
Alex,
Kevin,
is there anything? Yep.
just to add a little bit there, Kevin, what's really nice about TAPCO's RRFB systems is the ability for it to be flexibly mounted and field configured, as you mentioned, with that pedestrian indicator being a knockout that we have on either side of the device, the universal mounting kits, obviously we're maintaining IA 21 compliance there, but we can alter flash patterns and manipulate our controller as appropriate for any other type of unique application. So we put RFBs, not rapid flashing beacons, but these rectangular flashing light bars in applications for wrong way driving in the past, using a wig-wag flash and things like that. So as you guys get creative with devices here, obviously we're going to all lean on FHWA and METCD compliance again and again with what we do, and that's the standard that we're all complying with. But if there's a unique application, if there's something that we want to be creative with, by all means, float that past us, and our team will take a look at that and offer some consultation about what it is that we can do that's going to meet your goals.
Thank you, Alex. So kind of just touching base again on the pedestrian crosswalk system. So we like to provide that real-time warning. We definitely have multiple options, the new push button INX or the IDX, time clock, thermal detection, which we'll touch on in a little bit. But come to us, we'll get you definitely some designs, we'll customize. As you can see there, we have a lot of different pamphlets about it, so I can definitely get you that information if you're interested. One of the last things I want to touch on is our top of pole systems. So these are aesthetic pleasing, but one of the other great things is it is a theft deterrent. As you can see with these top of the pole systems, everything is designed to be at the top underneath the solar panel. So the solar panel will flip up, and that's where you have your radio and your batteries. So it's at the top of the pole. It's hard for somebody to come in and mess with that. And even for setting these systems up, you need to use a bucket truck to get up there or a ladder. But once you set them, they usually, unless you have to change a battery, they're pretty easy. They take care of themselves, and they're also easy to install. As you can see, we have multiple different options. We like to use 4.5-inch poles, but if you have an area where you need to use a 2-inch square telus bar, we can definitely do that. We definitely can size these however you need, and we can use them for our different systems. Now, what's going to happen here with these is we're going to use, these are like our 20 watt and a 13 watt, and so they may not be applicable to certain areas in Ohio, but we will definitely take a look at that and make sure. Alex?
Yeah, just adding a little bit more, Kevin.
Okay.
I mean, we have multiple top of pole configurations too worth considering. So what we're depicting here is our 20 watt configuration. That's a bit more inclined with what we see on northern states and what the solar needs are in those particular regions, trying to maintain that we have a certain amount of autonomy with the system. Typically, TAPCO is aiming for no less than 7 days of autonomy with our system. So we'd like to be closer to that 13, 14-day mark. We'll work with solar sizing to meet your particular autonomy needs. So the idea being that the system will run in perpetuity without having days of inclement weather or things like that affect the performance of the system. Our 13 watt top of pole system, being a little bit leaner, being able to be configured with either an 11 or 22 amp hour battery setup gives us some flexibility to deploy with ancillary warning devices. So as you see, like one side of a system may be considered a master pole, but the secondary pole could be a significantly lower power consumption, and therefore we'll size different ends of the system in different ways in order to give you the leanest and most effective solution that's going to accomplish the goal.
Thank you, Alex. At this time, I'm also going to turn it over to Alex. He's going to talk about our connected vehicle.
Thanks, Kevin. So TAPCO, a couple of years back, started leading conversations in the industry related to connected vehicle interfaces and how those devices integrate into roadside units and RSU infrastructure. We know a lot of areas have these conceptions of smart cities and RSU deployments just kind of as future state plans. What's really great, and I want to emphasize about TAPCO's systems, is we're ready for that discussion now without making any additional changes to the existing hardware set. What I mean by that is our connected vehicle interface, the device that talks from TAPCO Crosswalk system to roadside units, is a module that can be added on with wireless communication to any of our existing systems the way that we sell them, the way that we produce them today. It's using our proprietary radio network to transmit the connected vehicle information to this our translator box, our connected vehicle interface, or CVI, to the roadside unit, and allowing the roadside unit to talk to onboard units within the vehicles. We're agnostic in our space in terms of which RSU that we're going to be working with and how it interacts with our system is wireless, making the integration and that development, when we're ready for it as a team, very easy to just move into when we're at that point in conversation. The connected vehicle interface, again, is a module that sits with a connection to the roadside unit. It's a wireless communication back to the traffic the TAPCO equipment on the roadway. So the crosswalk or the high water system or whatever it is that we're deploying as a warning system in that particular instance. And then it's a RJ45 Ethernet connection back to the roadside unit here. So it's a very simple, very plug and play kind of device. We work with the configuring of these systems very intimately, and we're here to help with the design and implementation of them. So as you have connected vehicle applications, or if you're looking for more information on connected vehicle applications, feel free to work out a plan with TAPCO as a partner. We're here, again, to be very agnostic and hopefully consultative in this space to offer some guidance about how we can use our money now to future-proof and not have to replace systems that are going to become obsolete when this is more prevalent in our roadways. At this point, I'm going to pass the mic over to Nick Poblocki, who's going to speak a little bit about LegendViz and our new LED enhanced sign offerings.
LegendViz, this is one of our newest product offerings that we just launched last year. So what is LegendViz is probably what you're asking. Well, if we take a look right here, this is kind of the evolution of LED enhanced signs. So we go back to the 30s here. Take a look here, and we got basically a stop sign that's got little tiny light bulbs that illuminated the stop message. But as we go into the future, one thing that TAPCO was able to do was kind of take that philosophy and to make it better, and which is what you see here in 2000, where we put the LEDs around the perimeter and also use DG3 sheeting supplied by 3M. What this did is it really provided excellent, reflective sign, and the LEDs also enhance them by showing the shape and color of the sign, which would obviously go to drivers knowing it's a stop sign in this case. When we look at the LegendViz, and what we've done next is we've combined the LED perimeters along with kind of what they were attempting back in the 30s by illuminating the legend itself. So we'll get into how this works in a little bit, but that's kind of where we're at right now. So when we take a look at what our LegendViz signs are, they're essentially, like I said, they're going to be signs that we're going to illuminate the legends on here. The three options that we have right now is wrong way, do not enter, and then of course stop sign. We offer these in solar and AC powered. We also offer it with LEDs around the perimeter and then just with the legend illuminating at night. Now, the question you're probably asking is, well, when does this actually illuminate? And it's a dusk till dawn setting. We don't illuminate this during the day. When it comes without the LEDs, and you'll see this in a few moments, is that the sign itself almost looks like just like a basic static sign that you'd see out in the road. The design itself too, this is one question that always comes up, is MUTCD compliancy. And these signs are MUTCD compliant, and we'll get into that in a moment. So this is how the sign is actually fabricated. Is one of the questions I had at first when I saw it, because as I touched the sign, I'm like, how does this even work? It looks just like a normal static sign, but you kind of see here, it's a very much, we got different types of substrate and materials here. So when we start off with essentially the metal substrate in the middle, we will have routed out LEDs if we have that option for the sign, but also the legend will be routed out. Behind that, then, with the LEDs, if that's included with it, that'll be behind the substrate, and then in the back we have the rear illumination assembly. This is going to be placed right behind the legend, and that's going to cause the illumination. And then what we do is we apply the DG3 translucent sheeting over that substrate, and then a screen printed top on top of that. So you can see when that's all kind of sandwiched together, it's a really nice streamlined product. As far as mounting these goes, one thing that TAPCO has been a big advocate for over the years was trying to make everybody's job easier when it comes to installing signs, whether it's the RFPs that Kevin went over earlier, beacons, or currently with LegendViz. So one thing that we offer is our universal pole adapter for it. This is going to allow you to mount it on a whole variety of things. There's nothing worse than when you go out in the field and you don't have the right brackets or screws, or something's a little too small, something's too big. This right here gets rid of a lot of that complication. With it, like I said, you can put it on square, 2-inch square post or larger, round post. You can even put this onto your utility post. So really, it gives you pretty much every option that you would need. As I mentioned before, we do offer these with LEDs around the perimeter and then without the LEDs. Again, dusk till dawn for this. And then we can do the LEDs in kind of a different variety of ways. A project that I just worked on recently, I'm located out in North Carolina, was with Duke Energy. And what they had done is did an intersection conflict where at night the stop legend would illuminate, and then the LEDs were actually radar activated. So it kind of shows you we can do a couple options with it. It's just not your straight 24/7 unless you want it to be that way. And as mentioned before, right now we currently have wrong way, do not enter, and then of course stop. Stop sign is going to be 30 inches, and then these are 30 by 42, and then 30 inches for the do not enter. Touching back on the MUTCD compliancy, not going to really get into that too much, but you'll kind of see over here in the table, we talk about how lighted behind the sign face and then light emitting diodes. What this means is that whether it is by itself or with the LEDs, it is going to be MUTCD compliant. That's always a big thing. We want to make sure that we're following the letter of the law there when it comes to the MUTCD. So you can be, rest assured that if this is something that you guys try to implement, there will be no type of, conflict with what MUTCD says. As far as the LEDs go, not going to really get into the specifics in here. I'm not going to bore you with that. But when you look at the LED range, as far as the actual degrees of visibility, we go at it's 135 degrees. And the reason that we do that is it's going to provide, more of a peripheral view if someone's coming around the corner, someone's coming up to a stop sign, or let's say you have, four-way lanes, two going one way, two going the other, and someone's in the left lane. They're still going to be able to see that sign. They're still going to be able to see that illumination coming at them. But we don't do it too wide because, many times these will be in residential areas. You don't want this necessarily flashing into someone's house. You're going to get a lot of calls from someone trying to read a book or watch, Jeopardy at night and being like, that sign's annoying me. So that's why we decided to put it at 135 degrees. It's kind of the best of both worlds. And then visibility with this as well. You're going to be able to see this from over 500 feet away. And it's, like I said, it's just something where at night it's really going to make the Legend pop. One of the issues that we did run into with the LED stop signs was you had the washing effect when it was just the LEDs around it. With the LegendViz, what that does is it eliminates that. And what I mean by washing it off, or the washing out effect, is that the LEDs go around it. Sometimes the message itself will be blacked out. You hope everybody's going to know octagon that's red is stop, but people do surprise you. But with the LegendViz, it eliminates that effect. The current deployments right now, as you can see, quite a bit around the country. Ohio, I know Kevin has worked with the city of Dublin about implementing those. So if you guys are ever in that area in the future, it might be a good place for you guys to go to. But you can see that we have it well across the, from one coast to the other. So definitely it's a product that is taking off. And, we hope to see that this product will be in all 50 states sooner than later. And then as far as how solar works on these, so that's always going to be a question. I know in the past with some solar products, you got these big giant solar panels, big battery packs. Again, TAPCO has really been in the front, in the front of development here when it comes to trying to make sure our solar is small, but it's going to be effective. Economy is such a great thing to have when you have solar equipment, but also aesthetics and also ease of installation. I've been on plenty of installations before where you're putting up 55, watt panels or larger or multiple ones. And, that can be a task upon itself. Our goal with the LegendViz is to be able to get you guys the product and you guys can get it up that day. And with a 30-watt panel, it really provides that when you're going to be putting it on a round post, square post. It's essentially, I just call it drop and play. That's my terminology, where you're going to have the solar panel on top and the wire connectors is going to go right down the pole into the sign and you're ready to roll on it. So it's a very, very quick installation. And it's also aesthetically. And with that, we'll go into the school zone system solutions.
Thank you, Nick. So, ladies and gentlemen, just talking about the school warning
Yeah, I can feel that. So,
zone warning
LegendViz
system.
currently right now
Sorry
we have
about that.
the three
This is something that's very popular in Ohio. Do a lot of these, especially with the top and bottom beacons. But we can also do a blinker sign with that, so that we have the amber LEDs at the top and the white at the bottom. We also do the S1-H1, which is the Ohio required 20-mile-an-hour speed limit sign. So we are aware of that, and we do make sure we do that. Some of the things that are great about this system is that we do have a time clock, but you can also go to our cloud-based system. We call it the Blink Link, and it definitely can get you some more details on that. But that's a great system where you can basically from the seat of your couch or your office, you can make changes and also get alerts if something is maybe the battery's running low or those details. And definitely if the time clock is on the bottom right there. I'm sure, Alex, you got something to add?
Adding a little bit more, Kevin. I apologize for always interjecting here, but I love this conversation. Touching base on our BlinkLink software just a little bit here. That's a remote management software that is involved with a lot of TAPCO systems. We use it in a lot of different ways. You may be familiar with it if you've ever come across some of our warning devices that'll send high priority alerts such as wrong way driving systems, flood warning systems, overheight vehicle detection, but it's used in a different manner a little bit with school zone systems, or really it's a system management software. We're allowing our users to access profiles and schedule activation data for a considerable amount of time in advance. So when you know the full school zone, school calendar, you can go and populate that all within BlinkLink at the beginning of the school year and not have to have this be a maintenance burden for anybody within the district or who's managing systems like these. We can push the activations out instantaneously. So if there is a sudden reason why the schedules change, and we know that the world has been changing at seemingly rapid pace over the last couple of years, or if there's perceived times where the system no longer needs to be activated, we need to kind of manipulate those schedules on the fly. BlinkLink's a great way to go out there and do that for a whole district's installations without having to individually go plug into every single device. As Kevin mentioned, we do have time clock available, and that's a retrofit kit that's available to go into RTC systems and some other systems in the field. So if you have a desire to add this functionality to existing school zone deployments, give us a call. We were able to manipulate some of those hardware sets pretty easily and play around with what is a pretty lean upgrade kit to give you increased functionality, utility, and make these things more accessible and more user-friendly. Also, we have the ability to increase maintenance kind of notifications and things like that for these systems. One of the biggest uncertainties with cloud-based software pushing information to systems without actually seeing it is, well, how is that system performing in the field? We take care of some of those concerns and address that by implementing lights out features. We know if a beacon would go out in particular. So, do I need a ladder to get out to that particular site, or do I need a bucket truck? Now we're sending maintenance crews out with defined purpose. We know that the power was to go out if it's system is needing a new battery, or if there's other issues. We can do a lot of remote troubleshooting, and TAPCO can do that from our end as well. If we were to enter an agreement such as a maintenance contract for you, then TAPCO can even increase our ability to help offset some of that burden and do some of this maintenance troubleshooting, blink link manipulation, all from our offices at your pleasure. Anything else, Kevin? Anything else you got to add?
Yeah, just want to add that as you can see in the middle picture on the right there, we do have the blinker radar. So we can definitely combine our radar feedback signs to make a great system. And that kind of leads me into our next product, which is our radar feedback signs. We do work with Traffic Logics on these. We've gone with, on the contract itself, has the Evolution series. The reason is that's a really great series. It's as you can see on the picture there, it's a polycarbonate housing, so that it's a lot lighter. We also have a universal mounting bracket that we can sell with these, where it makes ease of install. One of the things that's great is I have a lot of municipalities that say, you know what, I like to use these signs in one area, but for 3 months, and then I want to move them. With this universal mounting bracket, and also with the lighter design, they definitely can move those, or they can buy additional plates, which again are on the contract, so that you can move those as needed. One of the other great things about the Evolution series is it comes with 1-year cloud connectivity. So if you can pull reports, you can get notifications, make changes, as I say, from the comfort of your office, any web-based platform you have. So cell phone, tablet, a laptop, web-based platforms, you can make those changes. You can pull reports. You can have multiple individuals on there. So if you have a police chief, or you have a school superintendent that wants to pull some of that data, maybe needs some additional resources in that area, you can definitely get that detail. One of the other things I want to touch on is with that cloud connectivity. Let's say you decide after 1 year I'm not using it. What do I need to do? The great thing is with the Evolution series, it's also Bluetooth enabled, so you can go out to the sign itself and still make those changes and pull the reports. You just will have to be there in range of Bluetooth. But if you love the cloud system, we can do a renewal for you. And the other thing is that if you decide, hey, down the road, I want to buy multiple of these signs, and I already know I like the cloud, I can also give you a lifetime cloud connectivity of the sign itself, which usually is about 7 years. One of the other things I want to touch on is we've gone with we have the Evolution 11, 12, and 15 on the contract. The 11 is something that's great for small areas or HOAs in your area. And what I say that is the 12-inch digit is MUTC compliant. So we always usually try to start with the 12-inch. As you can see here, there are 3 digits display, but in the United States with the miles per hour, we have usually only use the 2 digits. And one of the other great features too is you can always black these digits out, or you can max the speed. So you can't have somebody in your area say, hey, I'm going to use this as a radar for my vehicle, see how fast I can go. So you can top it out at 70, and then it won't show any more speed. But it does have a speed activated digital color change on the Evolution 12. And there's that little white dot there you see, that's a strobe. A lot of places don't use that, but some places do. The only thing I would be concerned with the little strobe there is sometimes the reason it's not used is people with epilepsy can affect them. The other thing we have is their Evolution FM. The FM stands for full message, and I'll talk about that a little bit. But we have a 15-inch digit. Again, it's a 3-digit display. But the great thing with the full message is you can display custom messages or graphics. It's also speed activated color changes, and then a choice of messaging color. And on this particular model, you can see down below that instead of a white dot, you do have 2 white bars. One of the other things that we do have in the contract, which is great, it's just simple, is a Safe Pace Cruiser. It's a real simple trailer that's easy to set up. You just pull it somewhere, get it all set up. You can display any angle. This is great for areas of school zones, or maybe you have a temporary area that you need to make people slow down, get them notification. So it is a mobile traffic calming device. Last, just kind of give you an overall of all of our systems on here. So as you can see, we have the Evolution 11. That's kind of a simplified system, but we go with the Evolution 12, which is MUTC compliant. We do have the full message. And again, these are all in the contract, the 11, the 12 FM, and the 15 FM. One other real thing I want to touch on is the variable messaging. The other great thing too is that with the faces, we can do multiple colors. We can do white, fluorescent yellow green for a school zone area. If you have a construction area, we can do orange. FHWA recommends yellow, but there is no strict definition. So a lot of places in Ohio will use white, but I always suggest yellow. It kind of differentiates it from a regular speed sign. But as you can see on the right there, we have many different messages. You can use everything from a happy and a sad face down to slow down, or if there's something you need to let people know, there's road work. So these are definitely great options. Next, we're going to touch on some of the enhancements that we have that's also on the contract that goes with our pedestrian crossings. And I'm going to turn it over to Alex here for our thermal. Yeah, so one of the passive activation.
TAPCO's taken a lot of initiatives in the last couple of years to enhance the ability to accurately provide detection within a crosswalk without having to rely on people doing what they're supposed to do and working with tactile push buttons. We know people in general become very compliant very fast with their interaction with some of these devices. So relying on this level of automation and this ability to detect impartial to someone's touching of a push button or anything like that, and being able to do so accurately has become very, very, very important. TAPCO uses a FLIR thermal device. It's an IP addressable thermal camera that we can integrate into our controller and activate the system with that. Some of the advantages of using thermal is strictly the ability to see through occlusion that would otherwise compromise optical sensors or different types of passive detections you may also be familiar with. Additionally, with our particular thermal sensor, we're able to look at very channelized areas of detection. So again, speaking to what doesn't necessarily pertain to us in a crosswalk manner, we're able to focus in on that crossing and measure different bodies of motion in a directional manner as they enter the roadway, come up to the roadway, things of that nature. So we're only looking at traffic that, we're not looking at traffic moving perpendicular to the crosswalk. We're only looking at pedestrian traffic as it actually advances through the crosswalk. We're able to configure based on the presence of a pedestrian. We're able to adjust those zones very, very fluidly in the field, and we're able to determine directionality with the right angle. So if you have an atypical setup, if there's something very unique, it's likely that thermal is still a very viable option for us, and we can configure those polygons and those zones particular to your application. Again, I mentioned seeing through occlusion that would otherwise affect competing sensors. Thermal isn't beholden to a bright sunny day and working in only those parameters. We're able to see through fog, rain, snow, and the things that the dirty lenses and cause issues with other sensors thermal sensors are less subjective to it. So with that ability to see through those atmospheric conditions, we're able to increase our system uptime and increase reliability of these solutions. Additionally, we're able to work in pedestrian counts and different types of analytics that are important to some of our end users. So as you're doing traffic studies and as you're doing your field research, this sensor, it can also be a tool for stuff like that. Here's some quick images again, highlighting the directionality and configurable zone methodology that we have with FLIR devices. We use a TrafiSense device for some of our applications, and we also have the Trafi-1 available for pedestrian applications. So you may see, depending on where you're looking within TAPCO's portfolio, different comparable FLIR devices. We solar size and system size for what's going to be appropriate for your particular application. Kevin, do you have anything to add on the infrared bollards?
That we have is our infrared bollards. In Ohio, a lot of municipalities and counties are using these for bike trails that are becoming very popular. So a lot of times you're not going to have somebody that is going to stop and push a button that's riding a bike. It's just easy for them to go through the bollard. It's also great for areas where you have more directionality of the pedestrian crossing. So there might be a building on either side and they kind of got to go through or they can't go around. It's a great option. One of the other things that I've had this used for is when there's golf carts in the area, either a golf course or an area where there's golf carts that may go across. They have the infrared bollards to make it easy instead of somebody having to get out and push a button. There's always a push button there just in case as a backup, but we do have that passive technology. One of the other great enhancements that TAPCO came out with 2 years ago that is really taken off. There's a lot of places in Ohio that has this included with their system, and I can definitely get you that information, but it's our Safewalk Crosswalk Illuminator. The Safewalk Crosswalk Illuminator goes on with the systems. It's a very small upcharge, but these are also very small units, so they don't overhang the roadway. They are designed to only illuminate 2 lanes. We do have areas where there's a median pole, so you have 2 lanes on one side and 2 lanes on the other. We can use that median pole and also illuminate additional there. But as you can see, there's one beam of light that projects outwards, and then one that floods the approach area, the crosswalk.
Kevin, to add a little clarity, it's important to understand that this illuminator isn't necessarily to displace roadway lumineers or anything like that, or traditional roadway lighting. This is channelized light specifically to highlight the pedestrian as they're within the crosswalk or standing at the approach. And it's only activated when the system is activated. So it's not light pollution. It's not going to obscure visibility within the roadway or anything like that. It's only on during nighttime activations. So at daytime activations, the photocell will tell the system, don't turn on the illuminator. Nighttime activations, the system will trigger the illuminator, just to add that clarity.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. The great thing too is it's an adjustable bracket. So as we get to the next slide, you can see here is a great example. So an area where it's really dark. In Ohio, I've seen this used a lot of places where there's a lot of traffic being crossed, especially in school areas where there might be some after the school programs in the winter. The other one that is there's a public pool and there's a lot of traffic to neighborhoods on the other side of a busy road. So they wanted that additional visibility. Again, we're going to take a look at the intersection that you're, or the crossing that you're looking at, and make sure that there's no nearby light poles or anything like that, because if there's a photocell and there's a light pole directly over, this will not activate, it won't help out. It's areas that are really dark, but it really does light up the pedestrian, as you can see here by this photo. And then, as Alex pointed out, it's only nighttime activation. So there's a photocell in there, and when the ambient light drops to the right amount, it will activate. Next, we want to talk about the TAPCO preventative maintenance contracts. This is something new this year that we got added to the Ohio State contract. The great thing with this is if you have a lot of systems or something where you have you don't have the resources to be proactive in going out to your different systems, we can have a preventive maintenance contract, and we can come out once a year or semi-annually. The great thing is it reduces liability. It also, it's kind of a peace of mind. Everything's taken care of. It's a turnkey solution. The best way to say it is you kind of set it and forget it. We're there. We're taking care of it. We'll notify you if a battery is going down. We'll take care of it. But one of these, the great thing about this is if you have some interest in this, we do have them on the contract, but what we can do is take all of your systems, look at it, and give you the appropriate contract. So that would actually be a process, and now we get our preventive maintenance contract specialist involved in that. And then last but not least, we have our Ohio State contract 063-22. The reason we're here today, just wanted to share with everybody, a lot of times municipalities, counties, they don't always understand exactly what's all on the contract. Please know that every time that I talk to you, I will give you the appropriate pricing. So there's discounted pricing and includes free freight. But if it's something where it's a little bit more custom or whatever, feel free to ask me, does this fall within the Ohio State contract? There are ways that we can do that. The other great thing is if you need replacement parts, something breaks or you get a knockdown, we can definitely, we do have replacement parts. We can take care of that. All the pole offerings, all the static signs, the mounting hardware. We even have in-street pedestrian crosswalk signs. So there's a lot of great things to the contract here. The radar feedback signs we talked about, the blinker radar, they're all there. Of course, the pedestrian crosswalk systems with the enhancements. And then we'll touch on this at a different webinar, but we do have some of the advanced systems out there, our overheight warning systems, the wrong way, high water warning. A lot of those great systems are out there on the a contract that we can definitely use. Alex or Nick, did you have anything to add?
No, Kevin, just sounds like we have a pretty established one-stop shop for our clients in Ohio. So that's excellent that this contract's in place for them.
Yeah, definitely. Again, just make sure you ask if there's any questions. But yeah, we have as far as contracts go in Ohio, we have the most complete and the most advanced contract out there. So we can pretty much take care of all of your needs.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
Just kind of closing up our discussion today ahead of any Q&A. TAPCO has we feel like an advantage within our space here to offer 65 years of roadway safety experience and to take some of the solutions we talked about today and really incorporate them into plans in a way that's meaningful and purposeful for your particular projects. We know that we have a lot of standard offerings, and I like to think of them as building blocks that we can use modularly set up in order to fit your unique needs. So as you guys come across something or there's something you're hanging on to here about what about BlinkLink, what about the LegendViz sign, what about some of these enhancements and how to uniquely utilize them, TAPCO has in-house engineering expertise. We don't farm out this work. We have electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, civil engineers, and groups here that can help us do custom drawings and custom developments. We're using these common modular parts to take what we have developed as proven safety technology and integrated into something that's meaningful and useful for you and your clients, the people that we're trying to protect and make roads safer for. If you have anything that you need, the entire TAPCO team here is at your mercy in order to answer questions, offer any guidance that we have. It's what we love to do. It's why we come to work every day.
For your expertise. We will now go ahead with the Q&A session of today's webinar. And just a reminder, if you do have any questions, just to comment in the chat and I will get them over to the presenters. So I have a couple questions here. The first question, so this is a LegendViz question. Is TAPCO looking at adding more sizes and legends to their LegendViz portfolio? If so, what is the timeline kind of looking like for that? Nick?
The wrong way, do not enter and stop, but we are looking at adding new signs to our portfolio there, be it new sizes. We have currently talked about adding the 36-inch stop sign and then also new legends as far as different MUTCD signs. So it's a little bit TBD right now, but we should have more of an announcement come mid-year this year. All
right, our next question. Are TAPCO's IWS systems approved in Ohio, and do they meet MUTCD standards?
Take that one. Yes, the our IWS systems do meet IWS standards and FHWA, and anything that's on the Ohio State contract has been approved by Ohio. So when we get that added on there, we make sure that those are approved by Ohio. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and get you all the details as you need them.
All right, thank you, Kevin. And then the next question, this is the last question that we have. I don't see any more in chat right now. So this is our last question. Can we purchase custom IWS products from the Ohio State contract? Sounds good.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Marissa. I'll take
Kevin.
that one more time. So yes, we
And
can do
that was
custom
all
products.
we
So
have.
like our LED enhanced blinker signs, we can do custom sizes, custom legends, pretty open. A lot of times too, if there's a system and we can make it work within the contract, we'll definitely do that pricing that way. If it's a totally ETO, what we call engineered to order system, it may not be able to, but for the most part, we can get any the custom systems put together on the contract for you. And I'll let you know when I'm working with you on the quote if it does fall under that. So.
For comments. So at this time, I will go ahead and wrap this up. Again, we'll be sending this presentation out to everyone, hopefully early next week, just in case you have any questions that you might think of afterwards. You'll be able to contact Kevin, Nick, and Alex. So again, thank you, gentlemen, for your time today, and thank you to all of our attendees as well for your time today. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Thank you.
We do have a question.
Oh, we have one more? All right, let's see.
No.
Oh, all right. What are current lead times on pole packages for RRFBs?
And I can handle that one also. Currently, right now,
Yeah, Kevin,
we have several different pull options. So depending on what package we're looking at, we can definitely get you. I know the biggest one is the aluminum 4.5-inch pull. And not going to lie, those are right now difficult to come by. We definitely have our hands on multiple orders. But currently, due to the demand of aluminum and everything else, we are looking at about 15 weeks for pulls. Now, a lot of customers in Ohio, the great thing is they can't put a lot of the systems in the ground, so they're waiting until the spring. So if we order now, we can definitely get those to you in time for the spring. One of the other things that we can do, though, is we do have the ability to get you the J-bolts, so you can get the foundations installed or set up ready to go. And if you need the bases, we can get those to you. It's just the actual poles, 15 foot and 13 foot right now, that are a little bit longer.
you definitely hit on the supply chain end of things here. Just to add, there is an overwhelming understanding in our market right now that the supply chain is a little volatile. And I say that a little tongue in cheek because we know it's been causing some headaches for many of our clients and ourselves, truthfully, for the better part of the last year or so. One thing that we can do to help tamper some of those concerns is to work proactively whenever possible. So if there's anything that you guys have coming up and we need to try to work around some of those lead times, we want to offer quotes, we want to offer that guidance, but the sooner we can start acting on some of these projects, the better we can execute on the backside. And I just want to offer that reminder to the group.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. And I don't see any more questions. So again, thank you to all of our attendees and have an amazing rest of your day.